Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Moose Club. We're going to do a episode on college basketball season. Our first, I think all of our other sports episodes have been on, it was, well, I guess we did some on college football leading up to the national championship and then some NBA or NFL. But yeah, college basketball has been pretty wild. We're getting close to tournament time with the conference tournament starting and then big old March Madness shortly after that. So Illinois put a whooping on Michigan last night. Which was pretty impressive. They won. They won by 22 or 23, something like that, Joe?
Yeah, I think it was 23.
Yeah, just without their best player, Io. So, that was just, yeah. And I don't know if nobody expected that type of an ass whooping, but that was impressive. Baylor got a win on the road at West Virginia in overtime. It's their fourth win against the top 10 team. So they're just chugging along, and Gonzaga's still undefeated. So Gonzaga, they have 2 lottery picks on their roster. So that's, I don't know. The season's getting interesting. We'll see, but what are you thinking, Joe, just in general of how the season's shaping up heading into the conference tournament? And I'm guessing the seeding is changing every day, but conference tournament's going to probably have a big part. But I think Illinois probably played themselves into a 1 seed as of right now, at least. What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds are pretty healthily wound up. Actually, Michigan. If Michigan, does decent in the Big Ten tournament and wins out, which they should, they're playing Michigan State twice. All 4 might be locked up because Illinois, they could lose to Ohio State and lose first round of the Big Ten tournament, and I think they pretty much locked up a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think Illinois would have to lose the first round, and Iowa would have to win the tournament.
Yeah, I think there's a scenario where Illinois wins out in the regular season, and then the only way Iowa gets to a 1 seed at this point is if they win the Big Ten tournament and Michigan loses to Michigan State both times to end the regular season. That would be the only way that, and I think in that scenario it'd probably be Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, Iowa. But that's just so unlikely to happen, though.
I think there's only really I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I think there's only 5 teams, barring upsets, obviously, but I think there's only really 5 teams that are really good enough to be there. I think there's 5 teams above and beyond all else that have proven themselves as the best teams.
Yeah. Are you meaning as possible 1 seeds or that could win it?
That can win it. I don't see anything. Except for, the old, NCAA tournament, pick the best player, and maybe Oklahoma State makes a run with Cunningham. But I just don't see – for one, I think the top 4 teams especially are really good. Really, really good. Illinois has 2 Player of the Year candidates.
Yeah.
And like you said, Gonzaga has 3 Player of the Year candidates and 2 lottery picks. Butler might be the deepest team in basketball.
Yeah.
In Iowa, if their 3-point shooting gets hot, they can beat anybody.
Yeah, they could also give up 85 points to anybody too.
Yeah. I think out of the 5 teams there, I think Iowa's the weakest, but Iowa also has an X factor of, they have the best player in the college basketball, and they have 3 killers from 3 if they're hot.
Right. Yeah.
If J-Bo, McCaffrey, and Wieskamp get hot,
yeah, Frederick, not McCaffrey, but yeah. But yeah, I could see a scenario where Iowa just goes on a run and they average 90 points a game for 4 games in the tournament. That's possible, but I think Florida State has kind of had one of those weird seasons of like a lot of long breaks because of COVID, but like they're really good defensively too. I don't. I think Florida State could be like, if I was going to pick a team outside the top 10 that could like make a run to the Final Four, it'd probably be them. But
They just got
what's that?
beat the other night.
They did, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, West Virginia's good. Like, I don't know. It's Bork, where are your Gators at? What kind of a season is Florida having? I don't see them. I'm not saying that.
So it's funny because they've actually played West Virginia and beat West Virginia. So it's interesting to see them as a measuring stone because West Virginia was not insanely good, but they're a pretty impressive team. So I'm pretty sure like Baylor just beat West Virginia, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. That leads me to think that Baylor's probably pretty good, but Florida's, I don't know, they're like pretty much a textbook definition of, kind of what I was saying to you guys earlier of just pure mediocrity. So I would think if they could win their first game, that would be, a good season. I wouldn't expect them to go because ESPN bracketology is telling me that they're going to be playing Ohio State in the set. Yeah, they'll be probably losing to Ohio State after that.
Florida, Ohio State, no kidding.
Yeah, well, ever since one of their like the SEC Player of the Year, Keontae Johnson, he ended up going down at the Florida State game, just collapsed. So like he hasn't been able to play the entire year. They have actually had a couple players step up, like Trey Mann. He ended up just getting SEC Player of the Week last week. But they're like they're just not that great of a team, really. So I have watched a fair amount of Iowa games. I did watch the Illinois game or watch the highlights of the Illinois game from last night. And I don't know, just from what I watched of the Iowa game on Christmas, just seemed like absolutely pulling teeth, and that they just could not generate offense unless someone was shooting out of their mind. And then, I don't know, Illinois seems to be on a pretty kind of a next level athletically compared to most teams. And maybe other teams are there like Gonzaga or something. Some other teams are there with them, but I don't know. Illinois just seems like a really tough team to beat right now from what I've just watched them play. And that's without their best player. So I don't know, like it'll be I think the great thing about the tournament is that there's probably no team that's like absolutely expected to win it. Probably. Maybe that's not the case, but that's what it seems like, that it's just kind of up in the air. So I think that could make for some really good basketball, entertaining games to watch.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think all those big teams. I know Kyle said it, and I'll admit it about Illinois. Baylor got taken to almost OT by the worst Power 5 team in the country in Iowa State. I think every team has its flaw. But yeah, Illinois, not to be a homer, I mean, this is about as good of a guard play as I've seen since like 2005 with Illinois. Like, I mean,
yeah, but see, that's.
Well, I could give a fuck less about Illinois, to be completely honest, but they just look pretty good.
I mean,
Really
I definitely think Illinois is like if they're in the Final Four, like Illinois could win the whole thing. Like I think at their best they can play with anybody. But what I'm so confused with Illinois because they do have really good guard play, but they turn the ball over a lot. Like I don't understand. Like they have the best guard in the country, and Frazier has been. I mean, the last they had a breakdown in that game last night. Like the last 8 games, Frazier's just been insane. Like he's just been really good, and they don't shoot free throws that well. Like so, I mean, I don't know. The NCAA tournament's weird. Like sometimes teams just get beat that you just never would expect. But I mean, I know I've joked in the past that Illinois is going to be a first weekend team. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams got beaten in the first weekend. But like, if you had to make me put money on whether Illinois was going to go to the Final Four or lose on the first weekend, I would put money on them going to the Final Four. Also, another cool thing, I'm just looking up here, just different rankings and stuff, that I think it's pretty cool to see Loyola Chicago in the top 20, ranked in the top 20, just a couple years after they made that fucking awesome run to the Final Four with, what was the sister? What was her name? Sister something that was always at the
Jane.
Was that what it was? So that'd be cool. See them going on a run or something again. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think this is going to be potentially one of those years where it doesn't happen very often, where we see a Final Four with all 1 or 2 seeds. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Final Four with all 4 number 1 seeds there. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is I agree with Bork that it's kind of, there's not one team that's going into this as like, oh, this is the team. Like, this is the team. But I do think there's a huge difference between the number 5 team and the number 6 team. Like Ohio State being 6 is like, I'm not scared. I know they beat Illinois, but I am not afraid of Ohio State.
I mean, they're 6 just because they play in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's brutal. Like, they're getting credit for playing in a tough conference. Like, they're a good team, but like, I'm not sure they have the type of players that you have to like just go win games, like in like a win or go home situation. But I mean, I don't know. Like, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I mean, Illinois, Baylor, like Gonzaga, they're undefeated, but like, and Gonzaga's really good. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that like Baylor or Michigan or God damn it, Gonzaga's not that good because they play in this bad like Gonzaga's really good. It doesn't matter what conference they're in, they're a good team. They wouldn't be 24-0 if they played in the Big Ten. Like, they would get tripped up somewhere along the way a couple times, but like, they're really freaking good. Like, so
well, I know this is splitting hairs, but I will say you have to hone in on the fact that they escaped really bad like comeback loss to Iowa.
yeah.
People remember that game for being a blowout, and at the end it was not.
No.
And Gonzaga got like 60% from 3 that game. So they're not going to do that. Like, that game, I'm more afraid, and maybe it's just because of the Illinois Baylor game. That Baylor team, maybe it was just that one game. That Baylor team was scary. They had, I mean, we've been talking about Io, one of the best guards in the country, if not the best. And they had 3 or 4 guys switching off of him and like just loving him. Like,
Yeah.
he couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the Iowa State loss, like, I mean, they played 19 games, like a college team, just having a game where they just, against a bad team, they just didn't show up to play. Like, I mean, I feel like that's just one of those, like, don't read too much into it type of thing. But like, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. I think this March Madness is going to be, I think it might be a little less exciting just because I think there's not going to be these huge upsets of like the top teams like early in the tournament. But I think like I am kind of weird in that sense where I want the best teams in the Final Four. Like, I don't want to see this 10 seed make a run to the Final Four and then get beat by 25 points in the I want to see like really good basketball in the Final Four. And I think that's what we're probably going to get this year. So, but we'll see. Got to get through the conference tournaments first. You guys have any other like final thoughts here before we wrap up?
Fortunately, no, not really.
That's all right. That's all right. Well,
I just got 3 letters for Kyle. What are they, Kyle?
I know them well. I'm not going to say them, but I know them well.
ILL, baby.
We'll edit that out, but okay. Make sure that everybody watching likes, follows, shares, subscribes, Moose Club Pod, and then look for us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts by searching the Moose Club. And then, yeah, be on the lookout for future episodes. We'll probably do like another basketball one after like the conference tournaments / Selection Sunday. But yeah, maybe let's plan on doing that, like kind of like a looking at the bracket and seeing kind of what it looks like and all that stuff. So.
Let's get Barry Obama on here and fucking do a bracket knowledge, dude. Barry, hit us up, man.
That'd be funny. It would be crazier if he actually watched this. That'd be even crazier. So, all right. Yeah. Thanks for watching.